Hi, my friends. Welcome to this episode of Healing Your Codependency. And if you're new to me, I help codependents, perfectionists, people pleasers get aligned with their real worth, purpose, and satisfaction so that they can create a life they enjoy. Today, we're going to talk about what I call emotional perfectionism. Emotional perfectionism is a subset of our general perfectionism, where we're trying to be ideal, to be perfect, to be the person we think other people want us to be, so that we'll have some sense of safety, so that we'll have some sense of love, some sense of worth, belonging. We be useful, we'll have utility, that kind of thing. Now, perfectionism is an expression of codependency. It's an expression of that biological reflex called the fawning reflex. It's where we are trying to appease what we perceive to be a threat to our survival by doing things that we think will make us happy. So it's very similar to people pleasing, except in perfectionism, we are highly auditing what we do, how we do it, and we're trying to control outcomes in a way to create environments or results where we feel safe enough to be ourselves. Now, in emotional perfectionism, we're taking this and we're doing it internally. We think that we should feel a certain way, we should express a certain way, we shouldn't feel certain emotions about things, and we should have specific feelings about other things. In other words, we are trying to make sure our internal world is pleasing and satisfying to some standard, whether that's another person's standard, whether it's our own idealized standard, whether or not it's what we think we must feel in order to attain an outcome, these kinds of things. If you've been into like the New Age, law of attraction, manifestation things, emotional perfectionism's ripe in that field, because it's like, yeah, if you have this emotion, you're not going to get this outcome, which is not actually accurate or true. But if we're coming from generalized perfectionism and we're trying to do something like that, it's going to overwhelm us, and we're going to become very rigid about what we feel. This will also show up in our own healing work. We think, oh, I got to do this tool and get this result because this other person did the tool and got this result. And if I don't get the result, there's something wrong with me. What this does to us emotionally is it's rejecting ourselves emotionally. It's expelling us from ourselves. We are exiling our real lived experience and trying to create a facade, a mirage, or a manufactured internal experience so that we feel like we're safe enough to be included, or safe enough to show up, or safe enough to share what we're experiencing. This creates enormous amounts of rigidity in us emotionally. It creates a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic, a lot of shame. We become very physically rigid and locked. We're like, oh, can't feel that, can't do that. We lose utter contact with our own intuition, what our emotions are trying to tell us. We don't know what our needs are. We don't know what we want, because we're out here trying to be this ideal that we think is necessary for our survival. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat on that. At some point, it was necessary for our survival because we weren't in relationship with people that loved us, that cared about us, that were interested in our individual experience. Instead, they demanded that we have the experience they outlined for us, or there's a problem with us. So emotional perfectionism is really about trying to feel what we think we should feel instead of what we actually do feel. So what do we do about this when we encounter it in our work? In my work in healing codependency, we address emotional perfectionism by creating a space of allowance for all that shows up. That means we are practicing what I call the warm witness. The warm witness is facilitated with a practice called ALI, Acknowledge, Legitimize, and Integrate. It is the fourth practice that I teach in the foundation training. It's a practice that we reinforce and deepen in the codependency healing system and use to create a warm, available container to all of the emotions that we are working with, that we are experiencing, that we are navigating. And in this process of getting connected with our emotions, we're going to encounter this emotional perfection reflex in us. And the key here is to say, yes, I see you. No wonder I have to do this. This is how I protected myself. This is how I nurtured myself. This is how I tried to get a sense of safety or a sense of worth or a sense of belonging. No wonder I've been doing this. I'm just trying to survive. This kind of action is called legitimization. We've acknowledged that we're doing the thing, then we're legitimizing why it's there. We're legitimizing it so it becomes real and valid to us. So it becomes something that we can lean into and care for. Because when we're exiting emotional perfectionism, we're moving into emotional authenticity. It's like, oh, well, I really don't like that thing. It feels very uncomfortable to me. I don't enjoy this. And when we're embracing that and receiving that with warmth, then we can understand what we need there, what our emotion is trying to communicate to us. And then we make better choices for ourselves. And we're going to find real, deep emotional healing start to emerge. Most of our emotional healing is paralyzed because we're trying to fix what we feel. We think what we're feeling isn't something we should feel. That's that emotional perfectionism. So we're using a tool or a process to get rid of it so we feel something different. This is where we get stuck. This is where we get trapped in a deepening cycle of shame, helplessness, and powerlessness in healing ourselves. We get out of that by receiving whatever shows up with warmth. We can apply the I love you anyway tool to it, but I recommend that we start with ALI. I acknowledge what I'm feeling. I'm feeling shame. I'm feeling panic. I'm feeling embarrassment. I'm feeling like I should be better at this, or I should be more successful at this thing, or whatever it might be. Acknowledge that that's what's coming up. Then we move into that legitimization phase. Of course I think I should be more successful at this. I've been at it for years. Or of course I think I'm failing because I haven't achieved this particular outcome someone else has. Of course that feels shameful. I've been taught that my worth is tied up with my performance and my output. It's this kind of action that starts to build a warm, receptive container for our emotions. Our emotions are no longer an enemy, a thing to fix. Our pain is no longer a problem to solve. Instead, it's a part of us to meet, a part of us to know, a part of us to connect with. I've been practicing this throughout my life, and even this morning, I found a place where I was trying to be emotionally perfect. There's a part in me that's very burned out on doing a lot of efforting and pushing and trying. And I've been working with this part for a very, very long time. And today, I was in the processing session I was like, oh, I can see you and feel you. And then I'm like, of course, it's okay that I feel this way about all this effort, about all this work. It's okay that I feel this way about doing this thing. That's emotional authenticity. That's being on my side. Is able to exit the emotional perfectionism that was saying, no, we got to get rid of this so we can feel more confident, so we can do this more and we do that more. No. Now it's like, I get to feel this way. I get to be here with it and feel this way about the situation I am dealing with. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's an empowering state at this point because now there's freedom to hear myself, to love myself, to meet myself, to care for myself. And when we do that, and that space opens up, then we start to know who we are beyond that place. And this gets us more into our alignment so that we move out of our survival phase and our healing phase, and we move into that creation phase where we start taking action that's inspired by our intuitive self, and we start getting results that actually matter to us. My friends, becoming an emotional ally, becoming emotionally authentic to ourselves is our first step in restoring congruency or alignment with our intuition, with our creative brilliance, and ultimately our long-term satisfaction in relationships and our purpose and our wealth and the things we want in our lives. So my friends, that is the work today. And today I'm going to leave you with one of my primary tools, and that's the ALI practice. The link is below in the description if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook. If you're listening via podcast, you can go to ali.freetheself.com and get it for free. Or you can go to healyourcodependency.com and go up to resources and library and healing tools and ALI, and it'll be right there for you. Use this tool to help become an emotional ally to yourself, to get more connected to your emotional authenticity and begin to end the pain and the terror of emotional perfectionism so that you can breathe in your life and have the things you deserve and you desire in your world. Thank you again for being a part of my work. If you're ready to take the big deep dive in this and start the big healing work, I recommend the foundation training. The link is in the description below. It's where I'll help you restore emotional safety, belonging, and self-worth in your world so that you can begin to create a life of more satisfaction for yourself. Go gently, and I will see you guys in our next episode. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for listening to today's episode. Now, are you looking for additional guidance in how to exit your codependency and create a life that's satisfying for you? If so, come join me in my email community. You can do that by going to join.freetheself.com or checking the description below and clicking the link there to join that community. You will receive more mentorship and guidance from me on how to navigate the 3 phases of thriving beyond codependency, those phases being survival, healing, and creation, as well as opportunities to join my courses, workshops, and other trainings that I offer throughout the year. So come join us there, and I will see you in our email community. Bye-bye.